Welcome back to Splashdown Saturdays, number 5. We are going straight into the loser bracket finals with our Seed 2 versus Seed 3, Woah versus Run It Back. And we're going to be starting on ship-shaped zones. We've seen both of these teams play before, or at least we just recently saw Run It Back in the winner bracket finals against NFT Robbers, where they did lose 0-3 and they got knocked down to this bracket. But let's see if maybe they can win this losers bracket and get their run back on NFT Robbers and Grands.
Yeah, a lot of storylines here, and reminder, we're in best of 5 still, losers bracket finals, so even if you drop the first two games, I mean, we've seen it before from NFT Robbers, they've been able to come back and bounce back strong, so even if you drop the first game here, it's not the end of the world, you still have an opportunity to really recollect yourselves, but like you mentioned here, Spot Zone Shipshape Cargo is going to be our first map here. Any really keys here, you would think, Tacos, for either of these teams?
Well, this can be one of those more locky out maps on zones. If you're able to control all of top left, I feel like on a hold and just watch all the drops, it's going to be really, really tough for the team that's getting locked out to regroup unless they dump all their specials and find key picks. But yeah, once you get set up on that top left with like a pencil or something with anything really with range, like maybe a crab tank, it's just going to be really, really hard to come back. So yeah. If one team can get the opening wipe, I feel like they can push themselves pretty far in the points. But we're going to see the comps here coming out from both sides. We see Run It Back with the same pencil carbon strikes comp. And then Woah is also running a pretty similar comp with 52 pencil and another Slayer.
Yeah, interestingly though, continuing or going with that blaster, which is not something I believe we saw it initially when we saw them on stream earlier. So now picking it up here for that blaster, that auto bomb plus bubble is going to be really, really good for them in space control terms, and maybe trying to see if they can counteract that carbon that Run It Back has. But we see here Gold Scar, a very, very good Slayer. We have seen them play throughout this tournament. It manages to get the opening pick and trying to continue to get this control. A 1-for-1 pick will technically go into favor of Woah here with the control of the zone. However, Run It Back have been able to answer back in kind, and with their specials online, they now have strong control of that zone with a beautiful Zuka pick there.
Yeah, nice back. Sorry, nice pick and control back for Run It Back, but there's just going to be trades coming out from both sides. Woah is trying to get in here with the lead, getting swapped. Not too many points on the board yet, but they are chipping down. Looks like Woah is able to find some way in to neutralize the zone, but with the strikes coming out from Run It Back, they're going to keep the zone. The Carbon's going to try to look for an opening on the right, finds one, does get traded out by the Stamper. But that's 2 down on Woah with the points taking down for Run It Back, so Woah does need to collect themselves and stabilize here to make sure that Run It Back doesn't get too big of a lead.
Indeed, 2 players down for Run It Back, so an opportunity for Woah to recollect themselves. You see the bubble being popped just for spacing here. Maybe trying to find that sharking player there. Won't quite find him. I believe they jumped out, and now an opportunity for Run It Back. With that attention drawn away, we'll have an opportunity to potentially go back, but actually Woah has continued to keep up the pressure here. Pencil does have cooler for the side of Run It Back, so an opportunity for them to recollect themselves and maybe try to keep this lead to a minimum, as Woah have just taken the lead here. But we see the Zipcaster actually quickly shut down by that Carbon, and that Zuka will go out finding one, and with 3 players falling from Woah, they are now forced on their back foot here. But we still see Ali on this left side managing to find 2, still stabilizing things for Woah. And what a turn of events there that Blaster has been playing here, and maybe trying to find more.
Yeah, the Blaster wasn't able to find the picks, but it's okay because they have their teammates there to find the picks for them. So even though there is some penalty on Woah, the points are ticking down, and Run It Back doesn't have the lead right now, so they got to make sure to build these specials. They are getting attacked by the killer whales. They have the strikes ready pretty soon. They find a pick on the Stamper. That's going to create a really, really big opening for Run It Back to get back in here. But never mind, Woah is just holding them down. They catch the drop from that left side, and their teammates are following up, trading them out. 2 down on Run It Back with 15 points remaining. Another one gets picked off, only 10 points down, and Run It Back just can't seem to find a way back in and get the zone. So game number 1 is going to go to Woah.
Well, indeed. I mean, that's just how they were able to do it. Just being able to use that blaster and the killing ability of it really just kept that carbon in check, I believe. I believe that was just like the main thing I noticed from what Woah was playing. I mean, it was fairly even regardless that, but just Ali on that blaster was the X factor. Keely maintaining control of that left side despite their team going down. They were able to get those evening picks, stabilize Woe, and be able to take back the zone in a very, very short time. But now we are moving to Crab like Capital Clam Blitz, and in terms of the blaster here, I wouldn't mind keeping that blaster at all. I mean, you have the bubble and you have those auto bombs to really basically just keep that carbon in check because, at least in my opinion, as a carbon player, blasters are so annoying to deal with.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially that small blaster that's able to fire out shots pretty quickly, honestly. It can definitely space out the carbon roller and basically not let them do anything. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ali, wants to switch to the range blaster because I feel like you
Mhm.
could use that extra range on this map. I feel like this map is super favored to the pencils, those splatlings that are able to just like go on grates or below the grates and just pick people off. Especially when your enemies are running on the grates and they don't really have protection there, it can be really, really easy to catch someone off guard and get free picks essentially like that.
Yeah. And I also didn't mind it for another reason, the ledges. The ledges are so, so good for weapons such as that. You typically see those with rollers, with buckets, with swatanas, but specifically blasters, the poking ability from under those ledges can be very, very crucial, and maybe even getting like a very important pick to really allow you to get a push in, but yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see here. Another key thing as well is just in Clam Blitz in general. We saw it previously in a previous set, but you really want to get sustained pushes because if you aren't able to get sustained pushes, you're basically just giving ammo to your opponent to really come back with a very strong force and really just on their part not really have to require that much effort to get an evening push that you work so hard for and just be able to come back from, because that's why I always like to say that you want to get under the 60-point mark on your first push, because if you don't, it is really easy for the other team to come back and just take that lead right from you.
Yeah, 60-point mark is a pretty good mark because that does secure you a lead from if the opponents get 2 balls in. So that would be a pretty solid first push to have. I feel like on this map, honestly, we don't really see pushes get too far. I feel like sometimes we even just see teams getting 1 push, and that's enough because of how stally mid can be, especially if you're just trading specials and
Mhm.
trading players out. But we're going back in and we just see the same comps from both teams. Looks like both teams and players are really comfortable with their comps. The carbon is starting out pretty fast, getting a really nice pick under that ledge like you mentioned on this map, and we're gonna start off the game in run it back's favor here.
Indeed, the carbon really well done. I feel like a lot of people underestimate the vertical flick of carbon. It is really has a lot more range than you may think here. However, the carbon actually being left in check a little bit. Finally, we'll find an escape route here, but 1 minute already and not quite much space is gained from running back. They do have the advantageous position, so they will have at least most of the map's clams to their disposal, but something that is very brutal about this map in particular, are those grates. Those grates are going to be a key obstacle or tool, depending on how you want to look at it for both these teams here. But running back so far has been controlling the kills, have been controlling the clams, so I mean, advantageous to them, but they eventually will need to get a push in.
Yeah, and something I want to look at from both teams are specials that will probably help with those, with getting in. We see the Zuka from the Carbon will be your best option to get rid of that pencil, get rid of the backlines, and create space. And then on the side of Woe, the Zip Casters from the Stamper are going to be really strong. But there's just 2 down right now on both teams. Neither team can really find a way to set up on the other team's plat and get something going. We are going to see the power clam on Woe, so they do have something ready to start a push if they want to, but right now it's just going to be picks back and forth, specials traded out, and nothing really happening here with 2 minutes already down from the clock.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the keys are going to be trying to take care of the opposing team's pen and really just pushing off your specials, especially Cooler, maybe giving you a little bit more firing power, a little more of a boost here, but really, really dead even in terms of clams here. I mean, you saw that player going down, but the clams are being quickly picked up by Run It Back. However, Woah does own a very, very small lead in terms of that clan economy. You see the Zipcaster trying to go for that pen, won't quite find it there. The gals from either side actually both going down. Now 2 players going down for Woah. Keely their pen, and now 3 players now down. This is left to their blaster in the bubble, just trying to see if they can stay alive. We'll manage to find 1. We've seen Ali pull off a little bit of a miracle before. We'll find 2, trying to see if they can get this Garvin. No, but the damage is already done, at least managing to take that 1-for-2 trade. They'll take that any day of the week, as with that, Woah's push does lose a little bit of steam here.
And now we see this 52 trying to get something done, going top right with the killer whales and the wall setup. Does actually find a pick with the whale. That could be a really, really nice first pick. We see that Woah has a lot of clams ready. They already have 2 power clams ready on their side. This blaster is under this ledge trying to poke and keep Run It Back at bay until they can get a special started to go. But all of Run It Back is just sitting back on their plat and just making sure Woah doesn't break through, which is a good way to go about it. But if Woah finds one, or if Run It Back finds 1 pick, it could be really, really bad for Run It Back.
Ooh, but the kills are now coming in, and they're going in favor of Run It Back. 3 players falling for Woah. This has left a gold scar on this gal to maintain these clams. They did lose 1 ball in that bloodbath there, but they do still hold on to 1 power clam here. And we are basically 4 minutes into the game, and neither team has really had themselves a opportunity to push. Neither team has really touched the other side's ramp here, and honestly, that's not something that's uncommon, but it's surprising to me that no team has at least gotten close to it here. You see the Zuka actually quickly shut down from the gal. 2 players now down for Run It Back, so yet again, another push is being thwarted. This time, Run It Back's push is being thwarted. Now the minute mark is finally hit, and maybe an opportunity now for Woah to go in if Gold Scar can continue going in and finding these picks.
Yeah, Gold Scar is just tearing through and is providing the only way for Woah to get in, but unfortunately those 2 power clams we saw about 2 minutes earlier, they're not on Woah's side. So even though Woah is finding the picks, they can't find their way all the way through to plat, and they don't have enough clams to score either. And there we go, 3 down, 4 down on Woah. That's a wipeout on Woah, and here we go in the last 30 seconds of the game. Maybe we can see Run It Back get something going here, but they don't have enough clams to even score if they were on Woah's plat. So it's just going to be a matter of when can we break through, when can we get that power clam in, because with 15 seconds left, whoever gets the first power clam in is essentially going to win the game.
Yep. This is Crab Lake Capital, of course, and we see here that ball is actually going to be taken out by that Zipcaster. 5 seconds left. The ball is in no man's land in terms of if Run It Back can even get it, and there goes the other major clam carrier for Run It Back as well. So now we are reset in terms of clams for Run It Back. Now Woah has the clams, has mid, has the opportunity to push here. Neither team has any score on the board like you mentioned here, so now the ball is in the hands of Woah, and this could be the opportunity right here. There's the bubble, and that will be the match. That's all it took, just right positioning, right place, right time. You just get that bubble up, and then it is just a red carpet towards the go. Woah will take game 2, and now a potential sweep is looming here if they can keep it up in game 3.
Yeah, if they win game 3, they will close out the set and secure themselves in that final spot to try and beat and take down NFT Robbers. But that Clam Blitz Crab Leg Capital game, I mean, that's just something you honestly expect. I feel like that back and forth, it was just so crazy because some teams were even getting wipes on the other team, but it was just impossible to ever get on plat. It's crazy how it took like 5 minutes and 30 seconds for someone to get on the other's plat, and then once that bubble gets under the basket, it's basically GG's from there.
Yeah, pretty much. And now a fairly uncommon map mode. I mentioned this earlier because I have not seen it a while being played in terms of map pools, but we're looking at TC Sturgeon Shipyard now. I don't know if you played it more than I have, Tacos, but any thoughts on this map mode in particular? Because really the only thing I can say is funny spinning objects go burr.
Well, unfortunately, I have played this map more times than I would like. It is definitely a map, but honestly, when you're looking at all the tower control maps in this game, it is probably one of the better options there. But it can just get super snowbally, I feel like, on this map. If you have something like a crab tank or honestly even a pencil set up on the opponent's snipe, like past that spinny thing in mid, and you just have that range tearing through and letting anyone get through their spawn, it's not going to be really fun for that team to retake. But we'll see what's going to happen here. We're going to actually see a comp change on Woe's side. They're actually going to opt for the head it instead of the pencil. So pretty interesting switch, if you ask me.
Yeah, still holding firm though with that blaster, and since it's TC, blasters are really, really useful for just getting players off the tower. But not only that, with the key note that they are playing the vanilla blaster, still rolling with it, that bubble can also provide some great cover as well. We see 2 picks going quickly in favor of, well, now 3 actually is just left to the pen for running back to just try to run for the hills, try to save face, as you see that cooler is there, so maybe they will be able to come back very quickly. But we see Gold Star already up so far in terms of just trying to delay running back from pushing back against Woe's push, but with cooler up now, Woe has an opportunity to keep the snowball running.
Yeah, the snowball is definitely rolling like the snow that was outside of my house. It's collecting itself, and Woe has already found themselves at second check, and they're keeping themselves alive. Well, there we go. 52's down on both sides. Okay, run it back, getting a second pick. And now Woe is keeping the pressure up. I mean, they're not trying to give up this push. They want to get the snowball and just get themselves out of this set here. The Stanford climbing the wall like Spider-Man, trying to find someone, isn't able to find the pick, but they took some pretty good attention. And here we go. The tower is stopped at check 2. 2 down and run it back. This is going to be really, really vital here for Woe. They broke the checkpoint. They have 20 points remaining. The bubble on the tower.
Ooh.
2 picks on run it back. 3 picks on run it back. And yeah, that's
Wow.
going to be the game. I'd like to call myself a prophet. I mean, that's how PC Sturgeon goes. You just snowball.
Snowball indeed, and that was just an avalanche, pretty much, call it that. I mean, that was
Yeah.
just straight up 100-0 for Woe. I mean, everything went right for them. I mean, I'm not sure what else to say there. They were just able to get that opening 3K and basically allow their frontline players like Gold Scar to really just be the thorn in run it back side, and just like that, Woe will be the ones to go against NFT Robbers in our grand finals, as NFT Robbers have been waiting there patiently, just waiting to see if they will be having another dance with Run It Back, but no, Woe will be their opponents, and this is going to be a fun match to watch, I'm sure.
Indeed, but I want to take a note. I feel like the names on the teams were switched here because we saw earlier in winner bracket semis that Run It Back actually took down Woe 3-1, but now in the loser bracket finals, Woe actually ran it back and they won the set with a clean, nice 3-0. So it's really interesting to see in these double elimination tournaments how teams adapt and develop themselves after losing in winner bracket, because it's definitely not over when you get knocked down to the loser bracket. That's when it's the peak time for you to lock in and take the sets and prove yourself that you are a good team, and you can definitely still make a run for it here, because we see Woe is in the grand finals. Our seed 2 is going to try to fight seed 1 and potentially get a bracket reset. We'll see.
I mean, that's the beauty of double elimination, revenge, storylines, whatever you want to call it. We have made it to grand finals, but before we get to that, we'll be taking a very short break before we get to that to just get everything situated. So be right back. We will be here for the finale, the grand finals of Splashdown Saturday number 5, in just a little bit.
Don't